Time now for the exchange. Israeli Ambassador to the United Nations, Dannon, joins us now live. Mr. Ambassador, thank you so much for taking the time. It is notable that last week Israel added a new official war goal, and that is the return of the 60,000 plus residents to their homes in the north. Obviously, they had to leave over the course of this last war since Hezbollah began to launch rockets on October 8th into Israeli territory. My question to you is, given the escalation now that we've seen over the past week, is Israel's ultimate strategy to push Hezbollah back to upholding the terms of the Resolution 1701, which were set after the 2006 war, which would see Hezbollah's troops north of the Litani River? Or is this Israel taking the opportunity for yet a third, perhaps, major war with Hezbollah?
We have been very patient for almost a year. We tried diplomacy, convincing the international community that the situation cannot continue when we have 60,000 displaced Israelis, refugees within their own country. We tried many negotiations, but nothing happened. So I can tell you what will be the end result. The end result is that Hezbollah will not be on the fence with Israel, according to Resolution 1701 that you mentioned. Now the question is how we get to that result. We have two options. Diplomacy, which we prefer. We don't want to escalate the situation. We don't want a war today. Or if we will not have other choice, we will push back Hezbollah. It will be painful for the Lebanese people in southern Lebanon, but we don't see any other choice. We cannot just sit idly by and wait for Hezbollah to decide when they stop targeting our civilians.
How much of a risky move is this by Israel? I mean, if this does explode into an all-out war, you think about the fact that the war in 2006 between Hezbollah and Israel ended in pretty much a stalemate. You think about the fact that Hezbollah has at least 50,000 fighters, not to mention however many fighters in terms of those who are on the reserve list. And then on top of that, about 150,000 rockets and missiles. Hezbollah is a formidable foe. It's not like Hamas. Just explain to us how much of a risky move this is also by Israel as well.
So, as I said at the UN yesterday, Israel is a peaceful nation. We have no desire to start another front with Hezbollah today. You know, we have been involved in a war, costly war in Gaza, and we hope to finish that war, bringing the hostages back and move on with our life. But we have no other choice because of the aggression of Hezbollah. And I want to remind you why we are actually in a conflict with Hezbollah today. We have no disputes about territory, resources with Lebanon. It's only because Hezbollah wanted to show sympathy and solidarity with Hamas, and they decided to start this war against Israel. If the Lebanese government was capable of telling them enough, stop the fighting today, we will stop immediately. We have no desire to get engaged today in another war in Lebanon.
As you know, the U.S. government and the Biden administration are in lockstep with Israel and your war goals of bringing Israelis back home in the north there, some 60,000 plus as noted. But it seems to be their strategy for doing so is different from yours. We heard from John Kirby saying that there were better ways to ensure that Israelis could return home. We heard that the ambassador to the United Nations stressed de-escalation. Can you talk about some of the differences in strategy that you're now seeing publicly between Israel and the United States in terms of trying to resolve this situation?
First, we appreciate the efforts of our colleagues in Washington trying to negotiate a deal. They are trying really hard. You have other countries that are also involved in this process. But when you look at the results, you know, it's not moving anywhere. And we cannot wait forever. What we can tell to the people of Kiryat Shmona, a city in northern Israel that left a year ago their communities, just wait in the hotel, we'll let you know when you can go back. So I think what the government did 2 weeks ago was saying enough is enough. We're adding another goal for the war goals, not only bringing back the hostages and eliminating Hamas, we need to create the conditions for the residents of the north to go back to their communities.
The UN has warned that the Middle East is on the brink of an imminent catastrophe. And the the body also said it cannot be overstated enough. There is no military solution that will make either side safer. No military solution that will make either side safer. I mean, obviously, as you just touched on, one of Israel's many goals is to ensure that those who have been evacuated in northern Israel are able to get back to their homes. That's clearly not happening anytime soon. Does the UN have a point that there really isn't a military solution at this point in time that is really going to make the Israelis safer?
So I think the UN and the international community should focus on the real cause of the problem, which is the radical Islamic regime of Iran. They are the one who controls Hezbollah. They are the one who instigating the attacks from Yemen, from Iraq against Israel. We have to mention that, we have rockets flying from Iraq and Yemen into Israel. So it's all orchestrated by Iran. And I think now is the time to put pressure on Iran and also on the Lebanese government. I approached the Lebanese Minister of Foreign Affairs last Friday during a debate in the Security Council. And I told him, we have no dispute with you. We can achieve peace very fast. But you have to be stronger against Hezbollah. Don't allow them to hijack Lebanon. Don't allow them to use Lebanon as a launching pad against Israel. It will be very costly, and we can avoid these damages.
Mr. Ambassador, as you well know, there are over 100 hostages that remain in Gaza, and every single day that goes by without their release puts more stress and strain on them, on their conditions. As many have said in your own government, they are dying. And you know that many family members of those hostages now fear that Israel turning to a war in the north without a ceasefire deal to see their loved ones come home will only endanger their lives even more. If I can just finish my question, please. When was the last time you spoke with hostage families specifically about this concern, about Israel now turning to the north without a ceasefire deal bringing them home?
So actually, today I'm going to have a meeting with dozens of families who arrived to New York City to meet with dignitaries that will be here during the high-level week. They will meet delegations, and I will escort them to some of those meetings. And we will discuss it. And they should know that we are committed to bring them back home. We will not leave them behind. And we hope that the pressure that we applied in Gaza and in Lebanon will send a very clear message to our enemies. We are strong, we are determined, we will fight until we bring back all the hostages. And I want to remind you, on October 7th, we were celebrating a Jewish holiday. We never imagined that we'll be under attack from Gaza and Lebanon during the same day. So this is a war that we didn't choose to fight, but we don't see any other option but to defend ourselves.
Speaking of the ordinary people who are caught in the middle of this, obviously Bianca touched on the hostages. I mean, there are also those people in Lebanon, Lebanese civilians. I mean, there are those who are concerned about the Gazification of southern Lebanon as a result of a potential wider war. You think about what the Lebanese economy has been through over the past 5 years or so, the Lebanese pound dropping in value, the port explosion we saw just 4 years ago as well. This is a country that has been through so much. How concerned are you for the Lebanese people through all of this?
First of all, I'm concerned about my people that are being under attack for a year. But I also think about the Lebanese people. I know that the majority of them are not involved with terror attacks. The majority of them do not support Hezbollah. But they have to show some strength, some independence. They cannot allow Hezbollah to drag them into a war. And I expect the leaders of Lebanon to stand now and say enough. We demand that Hezbollah will stop its activities against Israel. They can blame only themselves if they will stay quiet today.
Quickly, Mr. Ambassador, do you expect the Prime Minister to make his trip to New York this week, given what's happening there in the north?
So the Prime Minister postponed his arrival. He was supposed to come on tomorrow, Tuesday, but now he's scheduled to arrive on Thursday and to speak at the General Assembly on Friday morning. But as you mentioned, we follow the events day by day, and we will evaluate it when we get closer to that date.
All right, Denon, Israeli ambassador to the United Nations, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.